Equations is one of those skills that's going to make it very easy for us to transition our part from question to question in the exam. To get started with equations, we want to make sure we've got a couple things turned on inside of SOLIDWORKS. Over here on the left, you can see I have a folder called Equations. That might not be showing up on your computer, so let's make sure that it does. Go up to the top, right-click, click on Hidden Tree Items, and then click on Hide Show Tree Items. You can see I have one called Equations here, and I have it by default showing, but you might have it as automatic or hidden, so make sure that it says Show there, and then click OK. Then I can right-click on my equations, click on Manage Equations, and I'll get the equation editor that pops up here. I also have the option to add a toolbar here, so you can see over here on the right hand side I have a toolbar, and there is the Equations tab, so it just jumps right into there. So easy way to turn that on is right-click anywhere up here in the gray space and come down to Tools and turn on that toolbar. That way you'll have these buttons available to you as well. We're also going to be using the Way or Mass Properties button quite a bit, so it's nice and handy to have it. It's also available under Evaluate for Mass Properties right here. So equations and mass properties, again, are going to be used all the time. So to get started with equations, let's go ahead and click on the equation editor. Now notice I have global variables up here. So I can click and add a variable. So I can say A, and then it's going to ask me what it's going to be equal to. So I can say 80. And now I have a variable. So as soon as I click OK, go to the next one, it's going to allow me to add another one. So I can say B, and I can say, let's say it's 152. And do the same thing over here, click, and then C is going to be 42, for instance. All right, just that easily I've added these global variables, and then I can use them in my part. So a lot of times when you're starting with a new part or a new question, I can create my variables first and then go ahead and design a part around them. So I'm going to start a sketch and just go ahead and draw a rectangle out. Here's my rectangle, and then define a few lengths. As you see here, I have a dimension I'm going to add. And instead of typing a dimension here, I'm just going to say equal to. And as soon as I click on the equals button on my keyboard, notice I get global variables, functions, and file properties. So I can link to any one of those things. And notice I've already defined that A, B, and C value. So I can just click on A and click OK, and it just links those two together. So that's now controlled by that equation. Now over here on the right hand side, I can do the exact same thing. As soon as I click on equal, I can choose one of those global variables I've already created, or I can create a new one. So let's try D equal to D. And notice as soon as I choose D, it gives me this little pop-up icon that says create a global variable. So yes, I would like to do that. And I'm going to make that one 50 and then click OK. So now that's also a global variable, and I've created a completely different way right in context of creating the sketch. So I'm going to exit out of there and then take a look at my equations. You can see just that easily I created D as well. So you can do it either way, creating them ahead of time or creating them on the fly. But either way, I get all my global variables set up right here, and then I can use them in the parts and link everything together. And then if I want to modify the part, all I need to do is go ahead and open up this dialog box, change a few of the values, click on OK, click on Rebuild, and my part automatically updates. So that's the key components for using equations in your designs. It makes it much, much faster to transition from part to part.